We are just a few days away from the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam, and with literally, get this, with literally a dozen matches on the card, this will truly be the biggest party of the summer because for the first time ever, excuse me, for the first time ever, SummerSlam will go not one night, but two nights. And it literally is going to be on the same level of chaos and history. I can't speak. Historic moments was what I meant to say. I apologize, guys. I am not myself. Have not been feeling well. My stomach's been acting up, so I do apologize. But what I meant to say was level of historic moments as WrestleMania. So let us get down to business, and we kick things off with arguably one of the biggest tag team matches in SummerSlam history. The White Six, Fraxium, the Street Profits, the Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and of course the team of Rey Fenix and Andrade for the WWE Tag Team titles in a TLC match. Now it's weird because now this is actually kind of cool because for the first time in 25 years, a quarter of a century. Think about that. The TLC match was first introduced at SummerSlam, and at that night it was in Raleigh, North Carolina, home to one of the teams from that triple threat, the Hardys, and they were the ones that helped put the ladder match and the TLC matches on the map. And fast forward to now, this is I think they said that this was going to be the 16th TLC match ever in WWE history, leading which obviously the first was the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge Christian in Raleigh, North Carolina. The second one I think was at WrestleMania 17. Again, the same three teams where it literally had more chaos than anything else in that on that whole card that night. So this is actually pretty. This is really interesting because the Profits, the Machine Guns, and DIY were in the previous TLC match just a few months ago. In fact, I believe it was right before WrestleMania, if I remember right. I believe it was before WrestleMania, and it's weird because the world tag team titles were defended at WrestleMania. So I guess WWE figured it'd only be right for the WWE tag team titles to get their share of the spotlight. The White Six have been champions for only a few for only a few weeks now, and they've already made a lot of enemies, which literally is the entire tag team division on SmackDown, with the exception of Los Garza, who are now the AAA Tag Team Champions and are looking for challengers from that promotion. So this Friday, I mean, who knows? Maybe we will see, maybe we will see a random tag team from AAA make their debut. Maybe it could be Psycho Clown and Mr. Iguana. That would be a really interesting tag team. Pretty. It'd be really cool to see La Yesca once again. But we found out that AAA's big event, Triple Mania, will be streaming live on WWE's official YouTube page on August 16th. So that'll be a very intriguing match show to watch. It'll be interesting. But this is huge because every single one of these tag teams have stayed claim to becoming the number one contenders for said tag team titles, and as we saw this past Friday on SmackDown, the match ended in a disqualification when Nikki Cross pulled the referee out of the ring, forcing the disqualification, which after that chaos ensued all over the place, and that leads to this Friday, or this weekend at SummerSlam. From what I remember, I believe this match is gonna be on Sunday, if my memory serves correct. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm gonna have to take a look really quickly. Okay, so night one. Nope. Okay, so I was right. I was right. It is gonna be on night two, which will definitely be probably the biggest match. Probably one of the biggest, again, one of the biggest TLC matches we have had in a very long time. So, this is huge because you look at the White Six, Fraxium, the Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and of course Ray Phoenix. All of those men, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, Axiom, Fraser, both of the Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, both members of DIY, obviously Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and of course Ray Phoenix, all will be making their SummerSlam debut, in ring their in ring competition debut at SummerSlam. Ciampa did make an appearance at SummerSlam, but that was in 2022, I want to say. This was when he had aligned himself with The Miz when he worked Logan Paul. So I do recall that I do recall Logan defeating The Miz that night inside Nissan Stadium, which was a very interesting matchup. But this match, it's gonna be just as. I mean, a lot of these guys are all former tag team champions, current tag team champions. Obviously, Ray Phoenix being a multi-time AAA tag team champion alongside his brother Penta as part of the team known as the Lucha Brothers. And of course, Andrade, not his first time going after tag team gold. Obviously, during the pandemic, he tried to go after tag team gold. It just didn't work out. Unfortunately, it did not work out because, well, I believe he got caught with COVID, and he ended up getting released after that, if my memory serves right. So, I mean, we know when it comes to TLC, we know that there is going to be chaos all over the place. Tables are going to be broke, chairs are going to be bent, ladders are going to be broken, bodies are going to get thrown all over the place. But it comes down to who has the advantage, who walks into this match with the big advantage. Honestly, it has to be the Street Profits because of two moments that happened. Number one is the fact that the Street Profits retained their tag team titles in the previous TLC match that we had earlier this year. The second was their ladder match debut at NXT Takeover 25, to which I believe I did a result video of that night. So if you have not checked that out, I recommend you guys check it out. Or you could also, as well, if you can believe it, watch it on the official WWE NXT YouTube page, because I'm actually on YouTube right now on my Fire Stick, and Takeover 25 is actually on there. Like, literally, it was posted 3 weeks ago on the official NXT YouTube page, which is literally nothing but NXT. It's everything NXT. Old matches, previous takeover events, even also old episodes of NXT. So definitely check it out. Check it out if you haven't already. But again, it falls into the favor of the Profits because of that experience. Let's also not forget that when it comes to ladder matches, DIY, the last time they were in a ladder match together, minus the TLC match, this was back at Takeover Chicago in 2017, if I remember correctly. DIY lost to the Authors of Pain, and Tommaso Ciampa turned heel, stabbing Johnny Gargano in the back. Think about that, guys. Think about that. So I mean, as far as like who I think is the odds-on favorite, again, 100% is the Street Profits. But as far as who the dark horses are going into this match, it has to be Rey Fenix and Andrade, and the only reason is because they're a brand new makeshift team that have been doing so well over the last month or so, that that people believe that they are deserving of becoming WWE tag team champions. But some people also believe that the wild cards going into this match are the Wyatt Six, because of the fact that they've been back on in WWE for only a few months now, and the fact that Gacy and Loomis have Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, and Uncle Howdy as their trump cards going into this match. I've got no doubt in my mind that Gacy and Loomis are definitely going to use that to their advantage. So it'll be very interesting. But if I had to pick, this is difficult because, again, all six of these teams do have a claim to becoming tag team champions. But if there was one, I think it would have to be the Street Profits. I think because of the experience that they have, and the fact that they're now undefeated in ladder matches. They are now 2-0. They are 2-0 in ladder matches. Maybe they might go for the three-peat. Very, very possible, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up is Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross in a rematch from Night of Champions in Riyadh. This is weird because Sami Zayn had become arguably one of, if not the biggest babyface in WWE ever since the bloodline kicked him out of the family. Sami Zayn had went on to do bigger and better things. He alongside Kevin Owens main evented WrestleMania, becoming tag team champions. He went on to go undefeated inside War Games, now being I think 3-0, which is incredible. Becoming Intercontinental Champion for the fourth time in his career. He's had a lot of success, but lately Karrion Kross has been trying to get him to go back to his old ways, to the time, back to the time when during the pandemic he was, he had called himself the Great Liberator, and he was trying to, trying to reveal some weird ass conspiracy theory that was that was going on against Sammy. That's the Sami Zayn that Karrion Kross wanted to see. But we all know damn well Sami Zayn, he admitted that he would never go back to those ways. Would he go back to the ways of the bloodline? It's possible. It's possible. I mean, that was when Sami Zayn had had basically his loyalty to the bloodline was tested throughout the whole time that he was in the bloodline. His loyalty was tested, and even though yes, Roman Reigns and the bloodline did kick him out of it, he was always the honorary Uce at heart. So I think what Karrion Kross is trying to do is he's trying to make Sami Zayn realize that he can become world champion if he applied the things that Kross had done to his opponents throughout his entire career. And that's the one thing that Sami Zayn doesn't want to do. So this rivalry has went beyond professional. This has gone personal as hell. My honest opinion is that yes, it is about fucking time that Karrion Kross is getting yet another PLE match. It's about time, because Karrion Kross is literally one of the most underrated talent we have ever seen. 100%, he is such an underrated talent. He has not gotten a push this big since 2024. Last year, when he competed at WrestleMania, teaming with the Authors of Pain to take on the Pride, which was known as which were Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. So think about that, guys. Think about that. It's been quite some time. So the fact that Kross is getting a match this big proves that WWE has high hopes for Kross, win or lose. But I think honestly, the only way that Sami Zayn can truly move on is if he does defeat Karrion Kross again. If he does, I can honestly say that we might see Sami Zayn finally move on and go on to try to become World Heavyweight Champion. But think about this. I talked about it in yesterday's video where the draft could take place either after SummerSlam or after Clash in Paris. Imagine what happens if we get the draft and Sami Zayn gets drafted to SmackDown. Instead of him going after the world heavyweight title, he could potentially go after the WWE title. But think about this: if he ends up becoming number one contender for the world heavyweight title and he wins the title, then he ends up staying on Raw, and SmackDown would have to find someone to replace Sami to be a part of the SmackDown roster. Honestly, my honest opinion, this victory has to go to Sami Zayn, because if he loses, there's no telling where his career is going to go. There is no telling. No one knows what will happen next for Sami, nor do we know if Sami Zayn is even gonna get another opportunity to be on a big stage like SummerSlam. So my opinion, my prediction has to be Sami Zayn. But speaking of personal and speaking of the bloodline, I never would have imagined that this would happen again. But this is the first time I feel like in a very long time where Roman Reigns now sees Jey Uso as his equal, which is saying a lot considering that Roman Reigns saw Jey Uso as nothing more than a soldier in the bloodline when they were together in the bloodline. But 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 for the first time ever, they are at a they are there are no leaders from within the two. It's them. It's two men teaming up against two other men in the form of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And apparently, after what happened last night, it seems as if Braun Breaker is replacing Seth Rollins as the leader of the Paul Heyman faction. Maybe that is possible. Who knows? Excuse me. Excuse me. This is actually this is actually pretty huge because this is the first time in 2 years that Roman Reigns is competing at SummerSlam. Last year's SummerSlam, he made his triumphant return to WWE after losing the WWE title to Cody at WrestleMania, and he targeted Solo Sikoa, which then led to obviously having the Bloodline Civil War games that we had last year, and that match was nuts. This, however, is going to be just as, because if you guys recall last year's SummerSlam, I don't even think Jey was even on the card last year. Was he? No. Jey wasn't even on the card last year. So I think last year SummerSlam 2023. Yeah, SummerSlam 2023 was the last time that Jey was in a match at SummerSlam, and I here's the irony of it, right? His opponent was indeed Roman Reigns. Think about that. Think about that, guys. How ironic is it that these two men, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, were beating the holy hell out of each other in tribal combat at SummerSlam in Detroit, and now fast forward 2 years later, and they're teammates. Think about that, guys. Absolutely insane. This is huge because the only reason why these two guys. Ooh, excuse me, I'm trying to belch, but my stomach won't let me. Anyway, the only reason why these two guys are, have teamed up against Breaker and Reed is because of Seth Rollins. Think about this. WrestleMania back in April. Okay. Sorry guys. Sorry guys. I was trying to belch, but again my stomach wouldn't let me. Anyway, they it was Paul Heyman that not only hit CM Punk with a low blow, but he also hit Roman Reigns with a low blow, and thus Seth Rollins picked up arguably one of, if not the biggest victory in his entire career, defeating not only CM Punk, a guy that he had despised for well over a decade, but also Roman Reigns, a guy that he had despised mainly because of the fact that Roman Reigns has the Ulafala, the fact that the fact that Seth Rollins created the monster known as the Tribal Chief, and at last year's WrestleMania in Philly, yes, he was the one that attempted to attempted to kill the legacy that is Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. Roman Reigns still has the Ulafala, and Seth Rollins will never let that go. And Roman Reigns will never let go of the fact that Paul Heyman stabbed the Bloodline in the back. And we all know that the Bloodline, it ain't just it ain't a faction, it's a family. And we all know that. And of course, with Jay and Roman, we all know family members fight every now and then. But when it comes to guys like Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, they always have a common goal, and that's beating the hell out of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And as we saw last night on Raw, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso got beaten down by Breaker and Reed, thus I guess proving that sorry guys, my nails are looking kind of weird. Anyway, proving that Breaker and Reed, they could very may well be the future, trying to put Roman Reigns and Jey Uso to pasture. But obviously we all know Roman Reigns will never take that line down, because this Saturday is going to be a very interesting matchup, to say the very least. Now, I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know. In fact, I highly doubt that this match will be the main event. In fact, from what we know, supposedly the match between Cody and Cena, that match will main event night 2, and then Gunther versus Punk will main event night 1. Supposedly, but we'll have to wait and see. But this match has gotten very personal really quickly, mainly because of Seth Rollins and the fact that Rollins, with Seth completely out of the picture, at least for the time being, one could argue that we might see Braun Breaker turn heel on Seth Rollins, thus seeing Seth Rollins become a babyface once again, because the last time he was in a faction or led a faction, it completely backfired on him, and it just didn't work out. It completely backfired. The Authors of Pain got released from WWE during the pandemic. Buddy Murphy got released once fan got released from WWE in 2021. Austin Theory ended up back in NXT, and Seth Rollins was just pretty much just at it. He was at it on his own, and so I have no doubt in my mind that this could potentially backfire, but it could also work out. But we'll have to wait and see. But as much as I would love to see Breaker and Reed pick up a much needed victory, the victory has to go to Jey and Roman, because if they win, if they win the match, think about this: Roman Reigns can once again go after Paul Heyman and go after Seth Rollins, and Jey Uso could chase after the World Heavyweight title once again, which is something that fans have been clamoring to see for a long time. Speaking of, going back with the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu for the United States title, this time in a steel cage. This is to ensure that the rest of the MFTs, JC Mateo, or Jeff Cobb, Tonga Loa, and of course Tala Tonga or Higaleo, if you will, get completely taken out of the picture completely, and Solo Sikoa now, Jacob Fatu now has Solo to himself one-on-one. the weird thing is that Jacob Fatu became champion this past April at WrestleMania, and he held the title for only a few months, which led to his loss at Night of Champions, all because of the fact that that Jacob Fatu did had heard what Solo said to about Jacob, all gas no brains. This led to obviously Solo Sikoa becoming champion at Night of Champions in Riyadh, and it boils over to the steel cage match. We all know, anytime you see Jacob Fatu in a cage, you know damn well he is just gonna go all out, and it ain't gonna be pretty. All I can say is that Solo Sikoa has the upper hand going into this match, because we all know that his MFTs will always find a way to make the match fall into Solo's favor, and we could potentially see the return of Tamatonga at SummerSlam. And we know that his loyalty to Solo was pretty deep, but his loyalty to Jacob Fatu also ran deep as well. So if he does return, who does he side with? Crazy as it sounds, I think Solo retains. I think because this is his very first championship on the main roster, but his second in WWE overall, proves that Solo Sikoa needed that title more than anything else. Moving into the women's tag team titles, it is the Judgment Days, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. And if I'm gonna be honest here, in my honest opinion, I feel like that this match is pretty much even. Like think about this, right? You've got, on one side you have the power of Charlotte Flair, but the speed and the quickness and the agility, if you will, of Alexa Bliss. And on the side of the Judgment Day, excuse me, there we go, you have the exact same thing. The power of Raquel and the speed, the quickness, and the agility of Roxanne. This is going to be an evenly matched match. Literally, that's what this is. And think about this, right? The combined titles, the combined world championships that all four of these women have, it is outstanding. People forget that both Raquel and Roxanne are former NXT Women's Champions. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 14. I believe it is more than at least 22 championships. Think about that, guys. 22 world titles between each and every single one of them. In fact, I actually want to, let's see, if I remember correctly, Alexa Bliss is a 5-time champion. And if I'm not mistaken, let's see. She is actually a 15-time champion if you do count the NXT Women's title, because people forget that she's also, that her first championship in WWE was at the time the Divas Championship, which she became the last champion in WWE. So 7, 8, 10, 16. Yeah, 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 yeah. I was right. 16. So she's a 16-time champion. She's it's not 14. She's actually a 16-time champion. So think about that. Think about that, guys. That is incredible. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's 24 world titles between all four women. Think about that. Think about that. And between all four women, Raquel Rodriguez is the only 5-time tag team champion in history, which is mind blowing. But we all know that both of these teams, they're basically makeshift teams. Roxanne Perez got added to the team because of the injury that Liv Morgan had sustained at the hands of Kairi Sane earlier this year. And then obviously Bliss and Flair, the only reason why these two teamed up was because they needed to be a part of 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 Evolution, which was the all women's PLE that we had a few weeks ago. Now, because that both teams have gelled so well together, why not have them face each other at SummerSlam? Crazy as it sounds, and as much as I would love to see as much as I would love to see the Judgment Day retain their titles, I think the victory has to go to Bliss and Flair, because this is the first time that Charlotte in a very long time where Charlotte Flair has actually received a pop as loud as she got at Evolution in Atlanta. So that right there says a lot. So if they lose, what happens there? What happens there? Does Bliss turn heel? Does Flair turn heel? Do they both turn heel? What's next? No one knows. My opinion, the victory has to go to Flair and Bliss. We now move into Gunther versus CM Punk, which is supposed to main event night one, which is supposed to be the main event of night one, and this is probably the biggest match of both their careers. For Gunther, it's against a man who is a 5-time champion. Think about that. He is a 5-time champion and held the WWE title for 434 days, which I believe is the 10th longest reign of the last 20. I believe of the last 20 years, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I want to say of the last 20 years, and for CM Punk, it's a chance at redemption, because the last time he was world champion, again 434 days, he turned into a much more darker version of himself that he did not want to go to, but he did anyway. And now that CM Punk has become more humble and more aware of his mistakes from all the way back when, he doesn't just want to be champion, he needs to be champion so he can rectify the wrongs of the past and end his career on his own terms. And the best way to end that career is by becoming world heavyweight champion. And the last time he challenged for the world heavyweight title, it was over it was over 14 years ago. So that right there says a lot. That says a lot, you guys. So that is definitely something to think about. But I will say that I feel like that this is a mismatch, and the reason why I say that is because you look at both of their career highlights, right? CM Punk, five-time world champion, former IC champion, former tag team champion, the only man in in WWE history to go back-to-back wins with Money in the Bank. 2 years straight. First time ever, never has that ever happened in history. And think about this. He is also a former ECW champion as well. So that right there is definitely something to think about. And then you look at Gunther's record, right? 870 days as the NXT UK champion. 666 days as the Intercontinental champion. 250 plus, I believe 260 days as World Heavyweight Champion in his first reign. In his second reign, less than 2 months already. So literally 80% of his time in WWE, he has been champion. So that right there is definitely a lot to consider. And again, it's a mismatch based on career highlights. In terms of that, it favors Punk. In terms of the height and the weight advantage, it all goes to Gunther. But we could also see Seth Rollins make his return to WWE, which is possible, but we'll have to wait and see. But as crazy as it sounds, as much as I want to see Punk win it, I think Gunther needs it more than anything else, because if he wins it, he can truly call himself the best in the world. From there, it is speaking of the IC title, the men's Intercontinental title will be defended between Dirty Dom and AJ Styles. And the last time he was and the last time AJ was Intercontinental Champion, it was during the pandemic, and that was a long time ago. And we found out that AJ Styles had signed a 1-year extension to his current contract, which means that this could be the end of AJ Styles in WWE. And AJ admitted that he doesn't have much time left wrestling, but we all know every time a wrestler in WWE says I don't have much time left, they end up going to another promotion. We all know. Edge had done the exact same thing. Christian had done the exact same thing. Who else? Sting as well. Who knows? Goldberg might even do it as well. And then of course you got AJ Styles. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, yes, AJ does have friends on the other side of the spectrum, which include Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Will Ospreay, just to name a couple. Even though I don't watch, just as a disclaimer, it's just from what I had seen on social media, I feel like AJ needs to end his career in WWE and just automatically get inducted into the Hall of Fame, because his career is definitely Hall of Fame worthy, and TNA even wanted to induct him into the Hall of Fame. He was like, no, the only way I will ever get inducted is if I retire and I stay retired, which could happen. But AJ Styles could also sign another multi-year deal with WWE, which is something that fans are begging to see take place, which could happen. But imagine this. With this being, I believe, Dom's, second or third TV title defense, one could argue that this could definitely be the end of his reign as champion, which is a very high possibility. But this is huge because Dominic Mysterio is going up against a guy who has been in the business longer than he has. Yes, Dom has been with WWE since he was a kid, but he was sitting with the audience. So that really that clearly doesn't count. My opinion, Dom has been in WWE for 5 years. 5 years. This year's SummerSlam will mark 5 years that Dom has been with WWE. So that definitely says a lot about about the growth of Dominic Mysterio. But this will also mark, I believe, AJ's I believe his 8th SummerSlam, if I remember correctly. Let's see. SummerSlam 2016, 17, 18, 19. I don't think he worked 2020. I don't think he worked 2020, did he? Let me take a look. Go back on my card, on my first card here. No, he did not. He did not work, no, he did not work, work 2020. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 2021. Let's see, 2022. Let's see. Sorry guys, I'm taking forever. I apologize. 2023. Did he work 2023? No, it doesn't look like he did. No, so this will be, I believe, AJ's 6th or 7th. I believe his 6th. Yeah, I believe this will be AJ's 6th SummerSlam appearance, which is incredible. Which is absolutely incredible. So this is a victory that both men need, but it's a loss that they cannot afford to take. But for Dom, I think it's Dom who needs the victory more than AJ. I feel like just because of the fact that Dom is still pretty young into his reign as Intercontinental Champion, and of course we all know that with AJ Styles, he doesn't have a whole lot of opportunities left. So, my opinion, as much as I want to see Dom win, AJ needs to win. He needs to become champion. If he loses, there's no telling what will be next for AJ. And the same thing could be the same for Lyra Valkyria, because Lyra has one last opportunity at the women's Intercontinental title against Becky Lynch. This time, no countouts, no DQ. And if Lyra loses, game over. She doesn't get another opportunity at the title again. But we've seen in the past, anytime that a stipulation like that gets added, we all know that the challenger always prevails. Dolph Ziggler pulled it off a few times in his career. I know that The Rock has pulled that off a few times in his career. John Cena has pulled that off a few times in his career. So history could potentially repeat itself, and Lyra Valkyria could walk away with that victory. But as much as Lyra needs the victory, it's Becky Lynch that wants it more. My opinion, my prediction, it has to be the man, because if the man walks out as champion, Lyra will never get another opportunity again. But her and Bayley could team up to go after the women's tag team titles, which is possible. But we'll have to wait and see. Next up, it is Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley for the women's world title in a sort of a rematch from Evolution, but at the same time it kind of isn't, because Naomi at Evolution, in the middle of that main event, cashed in Money in the Bank to become women's world champion, which was a complete 180. We did not think it was going to happen. We thought she was going to target Tiffany Stratton, but that did not, and that was not the case. Crazy as it sounds, this is a big opportunity for Naomi to silence all the doubters, silence the haters, and prove to the world that she can keep the title and remain champion for a lengthy period of time. Because the first time she was a world champion in WWE, she had to give it up due to injury. And the last time she was a world champion, it was back in 2017 at WrestleMania in her hometown of Orlando, and she held the title until SummerSlam, which was only a few months. This time around, yeah, she lost at SummerSlam. History could repeat itself. And as much as I want to see Naomi retain the title, as much as I want to see Rhea Ripley become the only 3-time champion in history, Io Sky needs it, because that was basically her whole world. Aside from the fans, that women's world title was her world, and she needs that victory more than anything else to prove that Rhea Ripley will never be able to pin Io Sky. My opinion, my prediction, has to be Io. Next up is a very strange tag team match between Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Yes, the multi-platinum recording country music sensation Jelly Roll taking on Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. I've got nothing to say about this match, except that it is going to be very interesting to see how well Jelly Roll will be able to perform in that ring, because he admitted that he was being trained at the Performance Center by guys like Damian Priest, guys like Jacob Fatu, and guys like The Undertaker as well. So he's learned a lot from them, but how much has he learned? That remains to be seen. But this is Randy Orton's, I believe, 14th SummerSlam appearance, tying The Undertaker with that many SummerSlam appearances, which is huge. History in the making for Randy Orton, and he's still going at it, guys. He's still going at it. But with the fact that Logan Paul is hating celebrities making their way into the wrestling world, he low key, like dead ass, he's given off hypocrite vibes, because he himself was a celebrity that made his way into the wrestling world, and he got signed with WWE. Who's to say that won't happen with Jelly Roll? It's possible, but who knows? Honestly, I think because that Drew McIntyre has now been stuck in the UK due to some issues with his UK passport. One could argue that we might end up seeing The Miz team up with Logan Paul, which I don't think Logan wants that again, but who knows? But I think it's gonna be interesting to see if Drew will make it. But if he doesn't, it'll most likely be The Miz that will get involved. But I think Randy Orton and Jelly Roll need this victory, because Randy Orton has despised McIntyre for so long. Yes, they did team up a few times in the past, but this is a whole different Drew McIntyre, and this is a whole different version of Randy Orton that we have seen in the past. So my money is on Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. We now move into the WWE Women's title between Tiffany Stratton and the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill. Obviously, the mutual respect is there. They've got a ton of respect for one another. They've teamed up. They've teamed up a couple times. And again, the mutual respect is there. Once, obviously both women had saved each other from being ganged up on. But this is Jade Cargill's first opportunity at singles gold. But the question is, can she take advantage of it? And the answer is no. I don't think she can. And the only reason is because this is probably the best version of Tiffany Stratton that we have seen in a very, very long time. And the fact that she was able to defeat a woman like Charlotte Flair proves that if she can do that, she can defeat Jade Cargill. So my money is on Tiffany Stratton. Excuse me. And that brings us to the main event of night 2. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, round 2 for the WWE title. This time, a street fight. Enough said. Enough said. This is huge because last year at SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes wanted Bloodline rules. This year, he chose a street fight. And anytime he ends up in a match at SummerSlam, literally he's been undefeated. The last few years he has gone undefeated at SummerSlam. He is now 2-0 at SummerSlam. But overall, I believe his overall record at SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken, I want to see something. Let's see. Cody Rhodes SummerSlam record. So I believe Cody Rhodes is 2 3. I believe he is 3-2. I believe he is 3-2 at WrestleMania, but within the last few years, he's gone undefeated. So with the record like 3-2, one could argue that that this match favors Cody Rhodes. Possible? Absolutely. But this has probably been the best version of John Cena we have seen in a very long time. And the fact that John Cena has been able to remove the ring rust with the amount of victories that he's had since the start of his retirement tour proves that John Cena is truly at the prime of his career, and we are reaching the end of a historic career. 100% a history-making career. And it's weird because John Cena, within the last couple times that he's made appearances on SmackDown and on Raw, the fans have slowly started to cheer for John Cena again, proving that once John Cena loses the title, we could potentially see John Cena become a babyface again, which is something that fans are hoping for, but fans are also hoping to see John Cena keep the heel turn, keep this run as a heel for throughout the duration of the retirement tour. But as much as I want to see John Cena retain the title, Cody needs to win, because if he regains the title, he can have a much more lengthier reign as champion, and he could retire within the next 4 or 5 years, knowing that he was the guy that reshaped professional wrestling as we know it. But again, these are only my predictions, so only time will tell. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more premium live event predictions and results in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.